Lisa. So just been talking about the energy, and it has been full on this month. And someone was telling me on the weekend that March this year is once in the 300-year cycle of whatever has happening planetarily. So
Yes, I've heard that too.
yeah. So no wonder we're all, a bit chaotic and stuff. So tonight, hi Jody, how are you? So I did prepare some slides for us tonight to talk about the full moon and what we can do with the full moon around crystals, obviously, because that's what we're talking about. But does anyone have any crystal stories they want to share or crystal questions they would like to ask? No? Awesome. If you've got them throughout, do ask them. So let me share my screen. And because I think, Anne, you're probably the only, Jody, you've been before, haven't you? Have you been once before?
Yeah.
Yeah, once before. Yeah, cool. Now that I can see your face, I remember your face rather than just your name with your blank screen. So all right. Can you see the presentation?
Yep.
Yep, beautiful.
Yep.
So, Anne, I'm not sure if you follow me.
I think I followed you yesterday or something. I don't know.
Awesome, cool. So everybody else here knows me, but and Amy, you're just reasonably new as well. So just very quickly, you obviously know that my name is Leisa and my business name is Soul Magick, and also the Crystal Boutique. So I love actually, selling crystals is not my favorite thing, but of course, picking crystals and playing with crystals is far more exciting than, selling them. But I pride myself on having high quality crystals that I hand pick. Even the ones that I buy overseas, I hand pick them, from a video. During COVID, pre-COVID, I used to hand pick them from different countries, but now, obviously, over the last couple of years, we haven't been able to travel. So, we've all moved to doing online videos. So I hand pick them from the ones that I buy overseas that way. I'm also a shamanic practitioner and, work with one-on-one in a healing capacity and do some breath work, which I haven't been doing too much of in the public, but behind doors with other practitioners I've been doing lots of. And of course, run some accredited training and moving more, hopefully, into some more soul coaching and business coaching in the future. Working with people one-on-one is exhausting, and it's not the energy that the energy work's not the exhausting part. It's listening to everybody's stories, which of course is a really big part of why people need healing. They need someone to talk to, and I do love it, but that's the exhausting part. And unfortunately, I haven't mastered the skill of not being able to take on people's emotions and their physical pain quite yet. So I unfortunately carry a bit of that with me. So yeah, and I'm just going to mute you if that's all right. But if you do want to ask questions, just unmute yourself. Cool. So let's have a chat. So what can we do in the full moon? Who likes to put their crystals out in the full moon? Anybody?
I used to, but I got too many.
I bet you have, Shirlene. Now, there's lots of information around, about whether to put your crystals out in the full moon or not. And I'll start with the people who say there's some full moons not to put your crystals out in. Now, and they say that because the energy is, very strong, and, different moons throughout the year mean different things, and the energy is really quite strong. Now, I don't particularly buy into that about not putting your crystals out in particular full moons, because like everything that we do, it's about intention. So if the energy is too powerful for the crystals, what does that even mean? But what it means is that just like us, the crystal's energy will be influenced by the moon. So if you set your intention for what it is you're trying to achieve, then, why not put them out if that's what you normally do anyway? Okay. Now, you'll notice there that on my dot point that I've written charge / energize your crystals under the full moon, because putting your crystals out under the full moon doesn't necessarily energetically cleanse them. It's more about charging them and energizing them. So again, just like us, our energy is affected by the moon cycles, and so will your crystals be affected by the moon cycle. So you can absolutely put them out there, and we'll talk more about that in detail in a moment. The other thing you can do is create your a manifestation or your abundance underneath a full moon with the crystal grids, because the moon is quite powerful. And the full moon is about releasing, okay, and setting up your focus for the month to come, whereas the new moon is where we're setting our intentions. So the full moon is releasing it all. And of course, we can create crystal elixirs. The other names for crystal elixirs are crystal waters, moon water, crystal essence. There's a whole bunch of names, but they all mean the same thing. So we'll have a look at how you might want to do that as well. So charging your crystals. So only a couple of you put your crystals out in the full moon, and I will confess to not putting my crystals out literally hardly ever under the full moon. I, of course, like Charlene, and probably most of you, I've got too many crystals, and it would take me all day to get them out there and to bring them all back in. But secondly, I also have a dog who, likes to eat anything and everything in the backyard. And we also have a lot of bird life in our backyard. So you can bet your bottom dollar if I left crystals out there, then in the morning, then they would not all be there. So I don't put mine out, and like everything, it's about intention. Okay, so intention is that we just simply ask the moon to share her light with our crystals and to share her light with us. But of course, if you're like me, I can't wait for her to go away. So you can ask her to, in this room, I've got a lot of crystals in this room. I could leave the blinds open and just ask her to shine her light in through the room, because that's the intention that I'm setting, and charge. Because, our crystals have a high consciousness. The moon is very intelligent, and they don't need us to interfere with it. We just ask what we want, and boom, it happens. Okay. But if you are going to put them out, you can put them on the ground, or you can put them on a natural surface. And I see a lot of people saying to put them in a glass dish, but which, there's probably nothing wrong with that. Probably a glass dish is better than, like a metal tray or something like that. But I would prefer to put mine on the ground, because then they also get the cleansing and the blessing from the earth as well. But also you could put them on a wooden tray. So a wooden tray is a little bit more natural than glass. I don't know the reason for putting them on glass, and to be honest, I can't really think of a reason not to put it on glass, except for it's not a natural substance, really. Hang on, let me let Emma in. And I think for me, it seems like a good idea to put them on the ground more than anything. But of course, putting them on a surface then allows you to put them in and carry them out, or take them out and carry them back in much more easily as well. Now you can also put them out. Hi, Emma. You can also put them out the night before the full moon. You can put them out the night of, and also the night after, and any combination of the above. So on the full moons that I would create an elixir, for example, I would have had mine out last night, and tonight, and tomorrow night, to completely suck up that beautiful energy from the full moon. But if, for example, if I forgot last night, I could just put it out tonight and it would be perfect. Okay, you can also put it out during the day as well. So it's perfectly okay for crystals and crystals elixirs, if you're going to make one, to be out over that time during the day and the night, because remember, sometimes our moon is the fullest in the morning, or at 2 o'clock in the day. So it's perfectly okay to have your crystals out at all through any of that period of time. And of course, like I said, you also don't have to put them out. So if you don't want to, or you don't have time, that's perfectly okay. Just set the intention, and the two crystals and the moon will completely do their thing. And I've put that funny meme there. Sorry, it's a full moon. I have to put my crystals out, because that's a great excuse not to have to do things when you don't want on the full moon. Who gets invited to full moon ceremonies often? A couple of you. Yeah. I love the moon, of course, but the moon is not my most favorite element to work with, or my favorite thing. So I generally don't go to full moon ceremonies. Occasionally I hold them in my cacao group, which is an international group. So sometimes, I put my hand up and do a ceremony on those nights, but most I try to avoid them. So this is a good meme for that reason. Any questions about that, putting them out under the moon? You can also put them on your windowsill as well.
Leisa, I was really interested in what you said about the elixirs, because I've heard a lot of people saying that if you put your moon water outside, that if you don't take it in before the sun comes up, then that basically ruins it, because then it becomes sun water instead of moon water. So
that's interesting, isn't it? Again, it's about intention, and what is it that you're trying to capture? You're trying to capture the moon at its fullest, or are you just trying to capture the night?
Yeah, true.
Because if the moon is fullest at 8 o'clock in the morning, then I don't know. I'm not the expert, I would say, but there's probably other people who know more than me. But yeah, I don't know. Again, it's about intention and what is it that you would like to achieve. So yeah.
Well, I kind of figure like the moon doesn't have its own luminescence, so it's actually reflecting the sun's light anyway. So I didn't understand that. So yeah, I'm glad that's what you think, because that's the way I work.
Awesome. And the other thing, I might just throw in, a conspiracy theory here, that there's lots of people who think that the moon's not real. So, we could have that conversation as well, but we won't, because that could, lead us down a rabbit hole we probably don't have time for tonight. Awesome. So, creating and manifesting crystal grid. So even though the full moon is around letting go, you could absolutely use it, set up a crystal grid to help you let go of something or some things. But you could also set up a grid to help you manifest something that you want as well. So I've just given you a little sample grid here. And the little sample grid has got green and yellow stones in it, and also pyrite. So we don't have a lot of time to talk about crystal grids, but of course we do have a little bit of time. So I've just written down some of the crystals that you might use for manifesting, which are kind of our, usual crystals that we use. So clear quartz is the manifest, or the amplifier. So whatever you're trying to manifest and whatever other crystals you use, clear quartz is great to have in your grid somewhere, because it will be amplifying all of the energy. Okay. And you'll notice in this little picture here that these little crystal points are facing into the center of the grid. So all of the energy is moving in from the outside into the center of the grid, and these middle crystals are what's actually being kind of amplified. Okay, that's the way I like to build my grids, with the crystal points pointing inwards, but you can also create them pointing out. Okay, so if you have you know, all your crystals in the middle and these little points pointing out. It's just sending out the energy out to the universe as well. Okay, so, you know, some people say it has to be one way and some people say it has to be another, and, you know, I'm about making your own choice and choosing what's right for you. So there's no particular right and wrong. However, I do like mine pointing in. If I was to have a second layer of clear quartz points, or, you know, clear quartz points in these sections here, I might put them, you know, send them pointing out and have the energy moving in and out of the grid. But, you know, it's completely up to you. So the other crystals that we use for manifesting include jade. And the jade we normally use is green, but of course jade comes in a couple of different colors, most popular being black and white. But universally kind of the green jade is used for manifesting both abundance and luck. Okay. Green Adventurine is another crystal if you can't get hold of any jade. And jade's really quite easy to get hold of these days. People think that jade is kind of, you know, this elusive crystal that only, you know, the Chinese have, or only, you know, the New Zealanders have. But jade's everywhere. My favorite jade is Canadian jade. I love Canadian jade, so I buy it, snavel it up anytime I can find it. I also like Indonesian jade as well. But, you know, and they're the most kind of popular ones that I buy. But, you know, jade from anywhere is good. Green Adventurine is a green crystal, obviously, and by the look of this little picture, this little grid, this is not mine, these pieces out here, just out on the outside of the grid, look to be Green Adventurine. So Green Adventurine is also known as an abundance stone, which is perfect. Citrine is the yellow coloured crystal in these grids. Probably from the look of it, they'll be heat treated citrine, which, you know, is okay, I suppose, because it's all about the colour as well. So citrine is our manifesting crystal. And pyrite is also, pyrite in this picture is the little silver dots at the end here, little clumps. And pyrite is an abundance and manifesting crystal. So they are our general ones that we would use to be, you know, manifesting abundance of anything, or luck, or, you know, money, that kind of thing. And then, of course, you could have any other crystals that you want in your grid that amplify the energy of what you're trying to manifest. Okay, so if you were trying to manifest love, for example, you might add some rose quartz in there somewhere, or replace the Green Adventurine for rose quartz as an example. If you're trying to manifest, what could we manifest that's not about money or love?
A new job.
A new job, perfect. So you could create, what crystals, what might you use in a grid to get a new job? You could include, I'd probably use all the ones that I've listed there. You could also maybe include some fluorite, some rainbow fluorite, because fluorite's all about clarity and mental focus. So if that's what you were lacking, or you wanted to focus, you know, really focus on a particular job, you could use that. If you were trying to, I'll talk about the rest later, but that's all I can think of. So if you can think of something else, I think I'll put another one on the next page. So let me just turn over. Yeah, so create an intentional crystal grid. So if you're not trying to manifest, we're always trying to manifest things, but if we're trying to manifest something other than, you know, abundance or luck or prosperity, then you could create a grid in whatever structure you wanted it to be. So there's a few things that you need for that grid. One of them is, I highly recommend a sacred geometric pattern. So these two grids that I've shown you are in a sacred geometric pattern, and you can buy grid boards, of course, or cloths to represent them. You can also print out from Google. Just type in sacred geometry, and things like the flower of life, the seed of life, Metatron's cube is another one that's really great. So the bulk of the crystal grids that I would create would either be in Metatron's cube or the flower of life. But there's a whole bunch of others. There's not a whole bunch of others. There's 5 shapes, really, 5 geometric patterns that you could choose from, and then there's a whole bunch of offshoots from that. So has anyone not heard of the sacred geometric patterns before? Probably.
I haven't.
Yeah, perfect, Dan. So the sacred geometry, everything in our universe is created on 5 particular patterns. And the Metatron's cube contains all of those patterns in the one shape. I can find you a Metatron's cube. I'll put it up soon. But there's the flower of life is also one of the most recognized symbols to our humanity. So you can use that. And it's full of lots of circles that overlap each other and look like a circle. So there's 5 or 6 of them that you would use. So if you just type into Google sacred geometric patterns, it'll come up with all of them that are available.
Leisa, is this one I think that one's Metatron's cube?
Yeah, sure is. Yep,
that's
beautiful.
what that looks like.
Yep. Thanks, Andrea. So I would create that. Most often than not, I would use a Metatron's cube, and I've got crystals on all of them, so I can't take them off and show you easily. But it's very easy to create and you don't have to have any kind of board or anything. You can just go off your own intuition, of course. And you'd be surprised, even though these crystals don't look like they're in a sacred geometric pattern. If you laid over either the Metatron's cube or the flower of life pattern over the top of that, it would be in one of those patterns or both of them. And then you need, I always include clear quartz in my crystal grids because, of course, that is the amplifier of the energy. And you need an anchor crystal. So the anchor crystal is the one that goes in the middle. So in this grid here, it's just rose quartz, and in the other one, I think it was looks like citrine or orange calcite or something in the middle there. So the anchor crystal is either the biggest or the most powerful crystal representing your intention. Okay, so if you were trying to if you were setting up a grid, for example, for psychic protection, your center crystal could either be clear quartz or it could be something like black obsidian. Okay. If you were trying to set up a grid to help you ground, you could put any grounding crystal in the center. So you could have, the black tourmaline, you could have smoky quartz, you could have petrified wood, you could have red jasper, any of those. Pyrite's another beautiful one to have as a grounding one. So any of those grounding crystals you could have in the center there. If you are setting up something to help your anxiety, okay, you could put my favorite one in the middle there, which would be lepidolite. Okay, I wouldn't have clear quartz in the center of a crystal grid for anxiety because it's amplifying the energy. Okay, so you want to have something that's going to calm down the energy rather than amplify it. Does that make sense? Yep. So the anchor crystal is either the biggest or the most powerful. So, and just because it's small, so for example, if you're putting, if you had one Herkimer diamond and you wanted to put your Herkimer diamond in the center of your crystal grid, you absolutely could because it's a powerful crystal. Okay, if you had something like a phenocite, if anybody's heard of a phenocite, really powerful crystal, only tiny, you could put that in the center, and even though it's probably the smallest in your grid, it's probably the most powerful. Okay. And then any other crystals. So you don't have to have a lot of crystals to create a crystal grid. All you need to really start is 4 crystals, 1 in the center and 3 to make a triangle on the outside. And then from there, you can create as many as you want. Okay. Down the bottom there, I've written a couple of crystals that you might like to use on the full moon. And the most popular one, I suppose, is rainbow moonstone, because it represents the moon and represents the feminine energy. So, and then of course, if you're releasing, what crystals might you use for releasing? Any idea?
Would you use a black one?
You could use a black one. Yep, absolutely. For releasing, the first one that comes to mind for me is smoky quartz, because smoky quartz helps you release like lower vibrating energy and negative energy. So that would be that's the first one that comes to mind for me. But of course, whatever it is you're trying to release from, whatever chakra you're trying to release it from, use a crystal aligned from one of those chakras. Okay, makes sense? Yep. And then of course, and I've put focusing. So if you want to focus on your intention for the coming month, you can use clear quartz and fluorite, okay, for the month ahead. So any questions about creating a grid? It's a little bit quick that we've gone through, but I know most of you have done, crystal gridding with me before. Or a couple of you have done crystal gridding with me before. So any questions? No? All right. The next one, creating crystal elixirs. So this is a good fun one to do. So who's created a crystal elixir before? Beautiful. Andrea? Karen hasn't. No one else has. Have you, Charlene?
No, I haven't. No.
That's all right. So let me talk about the pictures first. There's a couple of ways to do crystal elixirs, and there is probably only one wrong way. So who has got something like a selenite coaster? Anyone got a selenite coaster?
Yep, I have.
Yeah, well, if you're using it, you're creating a crystal elixir. Okay.
Oh, okay. I thought it was like a drink.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It absolutely is, but it can be used in a couple of different ways. So I don't have a coaster with me, but say my mobile phone is my, coaster. So my selenite coaster, I put my water on it and it's charging my water while it's sitting on top of it. That is a crystal elixir. Okay. So you are the water, the alchemic process between the crystal and the water creates that alchemy, that magic. So that is a crystal elixir. Okay, so you don't have to have anything special other than a coaster to be doing that. Okay.
Okay.
Well, I do it every night then.
Yay!
I have it next to my bed.
Perfect. Me too. So I have a bunch of them. So on my bedside table, I have a massive chunk of rose quartz that I sit both my water glass and my coffee goes onto. And in my office, I have selenite, I've got prehnite, which I love, and I've got a jade one in there as well. So, I do mine every day as well. But if you want to create something, if you don't have a coaster, or you want to create an elixir for something else, you can do it the way that I'm about to show you or talk to you about. So I 100% believe in doing what we call an indirect method. Okay, so this is why I've got the red cross across this little glass here, because most of you have been with me for a while, so you know that our crystals are toxic. Okay, the bulk of crystals are toxic, and when you put them directly into water, their toxicity leaches into the water. Okay, so there's lots of places with the, well, there's one place we could start with what you can't put in water, and that's all crystals that end in ITE, except for shungite or shungite, depending on what school you went to. But the reality is that all crystals, apart from the quartz family, have some kind of mineral that potentially is dangerous for your body, okay, or harmful to your body, okay. So things like, you know, chrysocolla, which, you know, most of you know is my absolute favorite crystal, and I don't have one here with me. Chrysocolla doesn't end in ITE, but chrysocolla is full of copper. So you don't want to be putting copper in your water and drinking that, okay. So bumblebee jasper doesn't have ITE, but bumble jasper is highly toxic. So if you put that in your water, you're going to be drinking sulfite, okay. Yeah. Or sulfur, so I should say sulfur, not sulfite, sulfur, okay, and pyrite and a whole bunch of others that you don't want to put in your body. Even amethyst. Amethyst is purple because it has iron in it, okay? And the chances of that iron leaching out into the water is probably, you know, unlikely. But the fact of the matter is that it could. And if you have, you know, a reaction to iron, then that's going to affect your body. Okay, so there's two schools of thought. There's two groups of people. The one that say that the healing benefits of the water, of the crystal, sorry, outweigh the dangers. So go for your life, put them in the water. And then the other school, the other camp is don't put crystals in water. So I'm in the don't put crystals in the water camp. Okay. However, there are some crystals that I don't mind in water, and one of them is clear quartz because there's nothing in it. Okay, there's no crystal. Clear quartz is made up of two safe minerals, and one of them is water. Okay, so it's perfectly okay to put clear quartz in water. The other one that you can put in water is the lowest grade of shungite, because it's known as, even though it ends in ITE, its job is to purify water. So the lowest grade of shungite has high content of carbon. So when you rub it, it makes your hands black like coal. Okay, and that's the only one that you can put in water. Okay, so even like I see people put rose quartz in there. Yep, that's okay, probably, you know, but anything else, you know, has got something in it, or it has been cleaned and polished with really harmful chemicals. Okay, so crystals don't get nice and clean with water. Okay, they use chemicals to get them nice and clean. Okay, so unless they've been given a really, really good clean in ocean water or something like that, or, you know, beautiful, clean, fresh, purified water, then chances are they've got something on them that could potentially harm your insides. Okay, makes sense? Cool. So over here, there's two ways you can do this. So here we have got a crystal grid that's been created with a glass in the middle of it. Okay, and what the alchemic process that happens is that all of the water is infused with a beautiful crystal energy, and then you can do two things with that glass of water in the middle there. You can drink it, or you could create what we call a mother tincture. So a mother tincture is where you would use the water that you've had out in the full moon, put it in a glass container, another like an eyedropper or, you know, a glass bottle of some description, and add some alcohol in it to preserve it. Okay, and then depending on what people are going to do with it, then people add all sorts of things to that. So they might add essential oils in, for example, to make a spray, a room spray, or they might add what do we call it? What's the word? They might water it down, is what I'm trying to say. That's not the word I'm looking for, but you know what I mean. Weaken the mother tincture and add a little bit more alcohol and more purified water to it to create drops.
Dilute.
Sorry?
Dilute.
Thank you. That was the word I was looking for. I could see it, but I couldn't get it out of my mouth. So do you want to dilute it? So from a mother tincture, we create what we call a dosage bottle. Okay. So if anybody has used things like bush essences or flower essences, that's exactly the process that they've gone through. So they come from a mother tincture and then they create what they call a daily dose bottle. And then you can ingest that under your tongue or in your mouth as many times as you feel necessary. And there's lots and lots of crystals that lend themselves to being a really powerful elixirs. Okay. The other way you can do it is this way here in the top picture here, where you have a glass bowl, and the bowls that you use aren't your casserole bowls that you've had made casseroles in. They need to be clean bowls that haven't been in the oven or had food in them. So if you go to, you know, the junk shops, they usually have cheap glass bowls. So you have a glass bowl that you fill up with water and you add your crystals into, and then you have a jar or another glass that sits inside of your water, and that is what's inside of the glass that's full of water is what you create your elixir from. Okay, this water out here is often discarded or added to your plants, or you can put it in your pet water if it's nothing too dangerous in there. Or, you know, plants is a really good idea. And the mother tincture would be used in the water from this jar here. Okay, that makes sense? Yep. And then from here, in this water here, in the bigger bowl, you can put all of the dangerous crystals to create a really powerful elixir. Okay. And yeah, there's lots of drinking crystal water is a really powerful thing to do. So if you haven't done it, I highly recommend it. Okay. So Andrea, you've been creating some fabulous little things.
Just over time, I've done some elixirs for different things. Just do that with my moon water and different crystals for things. Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. I created an elixir a few years ago on one of the, you know, 150 once in 150 year moon, and I created it. You know those bottles that you can buy them in different colors, like pinks and purples and whatever, and they have the corky type top on them. I had that in a bag and I took it to Wodonga actually, and when I pulled it out of the bag, the bottom of the glass bottle completely came off. And all of the elixir water went all over the floor. And I was a bit devastated. So I wanted to get down and, you know, lick it all up, but we decided that was a bit gross, so we just splashed our feet in it. So it was like a litre of water, and literally the glass bottom just completely came off the bottle. So.
I have a question about the water that when we're doing moon water.
Yep.
How long, like I took some moon water from the last full moon, and I put it on my altar and I did all this stuff with crystals, and then I've completely forgotten about it. At what point, I mean, I was using, I think I used spring water out of a cask rather than tap water, but how long does the water last before you go, oh, we probably need to get rid of that?
If you're going to ingest that, not very long at all.
Right.
So if it sat more than, I would say more than 3 or 4 days, you'd probably want to not ingest it.
Yeah.
Okay. But if you are going to use it, you know, in your plants, for example, then that's, you know, perfectly okay. But yeah, any more than sort of 2 or 3 days, yeah, you'd be questioning, and also on the quality of the water in the first place.
Yeah.
You know, if you're getting it out of one of those great, you know, what do you call them? Those great machines that change the pH level and all that kind of stuff.
Kanga.
Yeah, the Kanga. It might be better. But if you're talking about either tap water or, you know, bottled water of any description, or even spring water, you would, yeah, 3 or 4 days, and you'd be kind of, getting rid of it.
So you just want to get the alcohol into it as early as possible. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions there? No. So the alcohol preserves it. So that's the point of the alcohol. Some people say that if there's a variety of people who can't have alcohol, either, due to choice or if they're kids, for example. And some people say that you could use apple cider vinegar or colloidal silver in the water. So I would choose colloidal silver over apple cider vinegar for that purpose, but the alcohol really does the best job. And the alcohol that you can use is either brandy or vodka. They're the best preservatives. So if you don't like the taste of brandy or the smell of brandy, you could use vodka. So I use a combination. So depending on what I'm making it for, and the vodka that I use, has anyone seen the skulls, the vodka skulls? Yeah. So many years ago now, I bought this beautiful vodka in a glass skull got it in duty free. And I only use it for my elixirs. So it's lasted a long time. But those crystal skull or the glass skulls, they make the vodka by pouring the vodka over the crystal skull. So it's infused with the energy of the skull as well. And for some of you know how much I love skulls. So that's it's really potent vodka. So and it doesn't smell, well, vodka generally doesn't smell, but you know how cheaper vodkas have kind of a weird smell. This doesn't. So it's very potent. So, but here in Australia, I imagine it's quite expensive to buy skull vodka. So next time you go overseas, or next time I go overseas and you want a bottle, let me know. So, and of course, the best quality water that you can get is better. So tap water, as we know, doesn't do anything for our own bodies, let alone our crystal elixirs. So just choose the best quality water that you can get. And of course, a dark bottle, either amber or, a darker, there's lots of choices these days, like a dark blue bottle or something like that is the best to put your elixirs in. And then you put them in a dark place. So in the back of your wardrobe or a cupboard or something is the best place to keep them. And when they're not okay, you should date them. And they say that no more than 2 years is the time to keep an elixir that's got alcohol in it. And you'll know if it's got some floaties in it, you don't use it. So, and I just recently tipped out one that I made a few years ago, and it was in I only had a clear bottle, and I made it in a clear bottle. And when I picked it up, there was lots of little floaty bits on the bottom of it. So I was like, out it went on the plants. Probably very potent, but I wasn't going to take the chance. So now if you're going to put it outside, I've put a cloth on there as the last item there. If you're going to put it outside under the full moon for more than one night, you probably want to have it covered, or even for one night, have it covered with a cloth of some description so that all the bugs and bits and pieces don't get floating around in there, because they love a bit of water, and or your dog take off drinking your elixir. So any questions about the elixirs? Let me check the time. Goodness me. All right. So that was the end of talking about the full moon and crystals. So does anyone have any questions at all? No? You're a quiet bunch tonight, aren't you? So before we do a meditation, let me tell you what's coming up for me and over the March and April. So March, I haven't got much going on in March. March is a busy month other than workshops and stuff. So I've got the Yusuin Holy Fire Reiki Masters happening in March. which Karen is a part of. But I've got one place left in that if anybody is interested in doing their Holy Fire, in particular Masters, which is beautiful energy. And one of my favorite over Usui Reiki anyway. And in April, I've got a drum journey day and a drum making day, and also Usui and Holy Fire Reiki levels 1 and 2. And I'm doing a spirit stick workshop in Wodonga on the 29th of April, which is a Saturday. So, and then I'll be up there for that. And then the next day I'll be at the Psychic and Wellbeing Expo in Wangaratta on Sunday, the 30th. So for those couple of you who live in Wodonga, Albury Wodonga, I'll have the details out of that hopefully tomorrow. Just trying to book a room for that, which is proving to be a little bit difficult. So, but I will find a room somewhere, somehow. So that's what's coming up. Awesome. Let me unshare that screen.
Sorry, where would the drum making workshop be?
In Geelong.
Ah.
Yeah. So I'll also have details out for that very soon. So
Cool.
if you're interested in coming, I've only got a couple of places available for that, but if you're interested in coming along, I'll have you keep your eye out on Soul Magick.
Oh, right, Soul Magick. Yep, okay, thanks.
You're welcome. So who would like to do, instead of doing like a full-on meditation, I thought we could do just a full moon release. Everyone okay with that?
Yep.
Yep, cool. All right. Well, get yourself comfortable. And I'll just pop on some music. I just want the music to play in the background. Is that too loud? Too soft? Okay, all right. Good-o. So just closing down your eyes. Just take a couple of nice breaths. Try not to hold on to those breaths, so just in and out. If you're not used to breathing like that, might feel a bit strange. And just allowing those breaths to go as far down into your belly as you can. In the next 3 breaths, we're going to breathe in, and we're going to breathe in as far as you can and hold it, and then breathe out nice and slowly. So breathing in, hold, we want to do 3 of those. And we're just going to call upon the beautiful Virgo moon energy. We're going to call her in. And we're going to ask her to help us illuminate our field. And as you breathe, and breathing in her beautiful energy, as you breathe in the moon's energy, you can feel it energizing your own body. Because the full moon is all about releasing, we have a little prayer. You can either just listen to the words I say, or you can repeat it in your mind after me. So on this full moon in Virgo, I release all harmful patterns and limiting beliefs that no longer serve me. I declutter my mind of negative self-talk and limiting beliefs. I choose to focus on the positive and embrace a mindset of abundance and prosperity. I open the door to new opportunities. And I trust that I am capable and worthy of achieving my goals and dreams. I detox my mind, my body, and my spirit of anything that no longer serves my highest good. I am grateful for this opportunity to release and renew. And so it is. And just allow your body to send the energy from the moon and your breath. Send it to any part of your body that you're not feeling 100% in. Whether there's restriction, tension, pain, or you just feel like somewhere needs a little bit of extra love. And breathe into that place in your body and breathe it out. Allow the moon's energy to illuminate it and release. Now calling on your intentions for the month ahead. What would you like to bring forth? Have a clear picture in your mind. If it's money, be specific on how much money you need. If you're trying to sell a house, be clear with the amount of money and the date. If you're looking for a new job, list the things that you want. If you're trying to manifest a more harmonious love relationship, be clear about what it is you want. We're just going to spend a moment sharing our gratitude, and just show our gratitude to the moon by sending her love. And showing our gratitude to Mother Earth. We make an offer of ourselves to Mother Earth, that we will sit with her, we'll show her more respect. We send gratitude to our spirit teams for lighting our path and guiding us. And here we're going to send gratitude to the spirit of wind that is blowing an absolute gale, which is perfect for our full moon, helping us to release and get rid of all that's not serving us. And just call into your mind someone or something that you are grateful for. And send your gratitude. We spend a moment sending gratitude now to everybody who needs our gratitude and our prayers of love and hope. All of the forgotten people, the people that don't have the privileges that we have, the sick people, the alone people, the homeless people, the sad and depressed people. And just feel your body filling up with a luminous light. If you like, you can set your intentions right here, right now, that Grandmother Moon shine her light into your house, energizing all of your crystals. And we say thank you, thank you, thank you. And just feeling your bottom on the chair that you're sitting on, giving your toes a wiggle. And when you're ready, opening your eyes. Beautiful. Beautiful. Does anybody have any questions before they go to sleep? No? Well, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate it, and it's lovely to see your faces. Just what I needed. Thanks so much. No worries, Emma. Just a small little prayer for Grandmother Moon and getting rid of what we don't need. So if you still feel like you've got stuff to get rid of, you can set your intentions tonight before you go to bed to release them. And if you're like me and haven't had a wink's sleep in about 3 nights, hopefully tonight we'll have some sleep. Awesome. Thank you so much, everybody. If you're interested in any of those events that I've got coming up, do keep your eye out for the event information on Facebook. And as usual, I'll try and send out the recording of this. We'll see how we go. All right. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And good night.
Leisa, nice to meet you.
You too,
Thanks,
Anne.
Lisa.
No worries.
Thank
See
you,
you
Lisa.
later.
Thank you, Leisa.
You're welcome.
Thanks,
No
Leisa.
Bye.
worries. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.